right, good evening, everyone. It is Monday, November 13th. It is 7:01 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Following Town Council members are present in chambers this evening: Dee Martin, Jason Maurer, Jessica Gruska, Enid Lapellis, John Form-Kelly, Sean O'Rourke, Terry Rooney, and Donaldin Wales. As of right now, Kevin Reed is absent, but I believe he will be signing in a few moments. All right. So this is our last town council meeting of our current term. And for all those that won re-election or are newly elected, I'd like to congratulate everyone for that. There will be a fun get-together in 2 weeks for the inauguration, where we'll have a new first selectman, as well as all our new members of boards, commissions, and town council. But given that this is our last town council meeting of our term, there are some thank yous, because we'll have a few people, very good people, leaving us as this is their last year of service as of today. So as for town council members, Dee Martin decided that she was not going to run for re-election this time. And, Dee, I think everyone knows Dee in town. She ran a wonderful preschool for many, many years, and only God knows how many students she had. Maybe you did. Maybe you do know. Many, many, many students have gone through there. And Dee has a wonderful legacy as an educator, as a member of town council, as a volunteer in the town of Monroe. And I want to personally thank her for her many years of dedicated service to the town of Monroe, both as an elected and appointed official, as well as just a member of the Monroe community. Thank you very much. And I'm sure everyone else on town council feels the same. I've served for this, well, it's be 20 years. It'll be 5 in January. So these 4 and change years on town council with you have been a great pleasure of mine. It's been very nice working with you, and thank you very much for your time on town council. Thank you. Thank you. And then the other member of town council, Jessica Duska, we pending a recount. As of today, the votes indicated that there'll be a new member of town council for your position. But on Wednesday, maybe you're back. We don't know, but I'd just like to take this opportunity, if you're not, to thank you very much for your last few years of service here on town council, and your many years of service on the Board of Education. When I started on town council, I was liaison to the Board of Education, and it was great to meet you in that capacity, and then as a colleague on town council. Thank you very much for your service on town council. If it happens to end on Wednesday, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
And finally, I'd like to thank our first selectman, Ken Kellogg, who has been our first selectman for the last 6 years. Ken has done a fantastic job as our chief elected official here in the town of Monroe, as a leader of a community or a leader of a company, which you kind of have to look at the town as somewhat in a business capacity as well as governmental entity. There's not a finer person that we could have entrusted the town of Monroe to over the last 6 years. Ken is a professional with a capital P. It seemed like every single waking moment over the last 6 years, Ken thought about the town of Monroe. And I deeply appreciated that as a member of, as a resident of the town, as a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission when I was there, and then as a member of the town council, that I just really appreciate what Ken's given to the town over the last 6 years in his full-time capacity as first selectman of the town of Monroe. And Monroe is better off today than it was 6 years ago. But thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Jonathan.
And
Appreciate that.
I would just, if you feel so compelled, I would just ask for anybody to just, clap for these three individuals who given a ton of time. Thank you very much for indulging me those few minutes. I will note for the record that is 7:07. Kevin Reed has logged on and is present online. All right. 1, 2, now we're on to 3. There's no objection. I'm going to pass the consent calendar as presented.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just as a note on the consent calendar, just due to the length of it, I do want to note that a large number of these were covered in L&A and are either form contracts or contracts that we have signed the exact same issue or grants that we have done the exact same process with in the past. So that's why there's such a lengthy consent calendar.
Yeah, they're routine items that we've acted upon many times. So if there is no objection, I'm going to pass the consent calendar as presented. I ask that communication items A through G be incorporated into the minutes of our meeting. Finally, item 5, public participation. Is there any member of the public like to participate? Name and address for the record. Please step down to the microphone. Yeah, go on.
Good evening, Nicholas 109 Meadows End Road. I would like to first thank First Selectman Kellogg for raising the trans flag for the second year in a row during this week, Transgender Awareness Week. I would like to take a few minutes this evening to address what I believe was an abhorrent and disgusting letter that was written by a Monroe resident the night before the election that was reposted and endorsed by First Selectman-elect Rooney and the Republican Town Committee. The letter was filled with outright lies. I never publicly or privately made mention of critical race theory and, quote, interjecting it into our schools. I never advocated for taking away parents' rights. What I did say was that if a student came out to a teacher or a member of the school staff and did not want their parents to know that information, that particular teacher or school staff member did not have an obligation to report it. I still stand by this vigorously to protect children who may not feel safe at home if they come out. If you want to know what the Kapoor agenda is, let me tell you. It's about protecting LGBTQ plus kids, protecting the taxpayers' dollars, and doing what's best for the town. And if Mr. Rooney and the RTC want to say that's wrong, then go ahead. As the leader of the Kapoor wing of the Democratic Party, as the letter states, we believe in equality and equity for all, respecting your neighbor and helping your fellow person when you can. The author of the letter was right in one instance. The school board did reject the trans and non-binary student policy and then said nothing. They continued to stay silent 18 months after the fact, while people who may think about moving into Monroe who have LGBTQ plus children Google the news stories and see no response from the Board of Education majority. If I need to be the boogeyman for the RTC, that if Nick Kapoor is elected to any office in this town, that the moral and social fabric of Monroe would come apart at the seams, I am happy to play that role. But remember, what you post and repost on the internet is forever, and people read it. Not just the insiders, but also the trans kid who goes to Massick and already felt one vote against them by their Board of Education. And perhaps the closeted person who's afraid to come out because of what their community would think of them. Your words matter. And Mr. Rooney, your non-commitment to raise the pride flag was felt and continues to be felt by many members of the LGBTQ+ community, myself included. Mr. Rooney, I hope you're able to put aside whatever you may personally feel and commit to raising the pride flag in June, and also to continuing to raise the trans flag in November. 2024 would be the 5th year that we raised the pride flag in Monroe. I'd like to see it even bigger. To conclude, I'd like to thank, shifting gears a little bit, I'd like to thank Councilwoman Katuska for her years on this body. I'd also like to thank Dee Dee Martin for her 29 years of service to the town of Monroe. Our town would not be what it is without Dee Dee Martin's service on this body. She is the longest serving member of the Monroe Town Council in Monroe's history. And it was a privilege and an honor to sit next to her for 4 years on this council. Dee Dee taught me what it means to be a public servant and to never back down from bullies or tough fights. And I would not be the public servant I am today in my roles in Monroe or as the chairman of the Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities without her guidance, friendship, and mentorship. Dee Dee, thank you for everything that you have done for this town over the last 3 decades. Thank you.
Just note for the record, comments during public participation shall be directed to the council and not any individual member, entity, or single member. Is there any member of the public that would like to participate this evening? Please come forward, name and address for the record, please.
Hi, Janice Persico, 31 Rodeo Drive. I am also here just to say thanks. Thank you, Mr. Kellogg, for all your years of service. I don't think that the pandemic would have been the same without you, so we appreciate you leading us through that. And I'm also here to just a big thank you to Dee Dee. I know I can't speak to an individual, but you know you're loved by the town, and we are sad to see you go, but I hope you enjoy your retirement. Can I approach and give her flowers? Sure.
That's up to her.
It's just a thank you from all of us.
Is there any other member of the public that would like to participate this evening? All once, all twice. Public participation is closed. We have no appointments this evening. Item 7, action items. Item 8, Town Council Committee on Finance, Education, Health, Public Safety Matters. Madam Vice Chair.
We haven't met since our last meeting.
Thank you. Item B, Town Council Committee on Planning, Zoning, Public Work, and Park and Recreation Matters. Councilmember Rooney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did meet. I reached out to department heads through the first selectman to see if there was any agenda items. There were none. We did have a quorum, myself and Shorter Work. There was really nothing to discuss, so we adjourned very quickly, but that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilmember Martin.
Yeah, I have a real quick Park and Rec, just an update. The new field has been seeded and the fencing has been removed, but it'll be 2 years before that field is playable, but 2 years that'll hopefully alleviate a lot of field issues. The bathrooms have been winterized at the lake, so they're not in use. There will be porta potties down there. And Saturday is the last day for Web Mountain. Web Mountain will close on Saturday.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Oh.
I have one other additional thing on the bicentennial. Can I just throw
Go
that?
ahead.
I'll just throw that in now. Saturday, 3:00, the bicentennial committee will be burying their time capsule. So, and that will be out on the green, the left-hand side of the green, left-hand looking out this way, 3:00 Saturday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item C, Town Council Committee on Legislative and Administrative Matters. Council Member Reed.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. We did meet tonight, as Councilman Mauer had reflected earlier in the meeting tonight. We met on a number of things. I'm actually not going to read them off like I normally do. They are in the packet, and all reached consensus, and we are speaking on a few of those tonight.
Thank you very much. Item D, Strategic Planning Committee. We have not had a meeting since our last meeting. I do anticipate with budget season ever so quickly approaching that we will have a meeting as the budget is prepared. Item E, EMS Building Committee. Councilmember Rooney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have not met. We do have a couple items left to finish, small items. I spoke to Mr. Phillips today, just on the town side. We are currently waiting for the architect's sign off, but that's where we are.
Thank you. Item F, Open Space Preservation and Acquisition Committee. Councilmember O'Rourke.
Mr. Chairman, we have not met since our last meeting.
Thank you. And item G, First Selectman update.
Thank you.
Mr. Kellogg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The written ones are making their way down. First, as Councilmember Martin referenced, the Wolf Park Fields project has been completed. Both the large field and the practice field. The grass is planted. As she referenced, it will take some time for those fields to become fully established for the relatively high intensity use of the athletic field. But the process is done and they look really good. Second item is the America 250 Connecticut Commission. In 2026, our country will be celebrating the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And last year, the governor established this commission to plan the state's commemorations and celebrations on this milestone. They requested a municipal liaison last month. I have designated Nicole Signoli, the director of our library, to serve as our local liaison to the State Commission, and they will be sharing information on themes, programs, funding opportunities, and promotional guidelines. The next item I want to review is just to, I know this council will recall that I had brought to you some time ago a contract for the Chris Herron Speaks organization. The town has received various opioid lawsuit settlement funds. As I already reported back when we discussed this agreement, I established an administrative team to review recommendations to use those funds that are consistent with the settlement agreements and those parameters. As I reported earlier, the first use of these funds will be to provide a school-based program to prevent drug misuse that was highly recommended by Superintendent Kabza. And again, as this council authorized, we entered into an agreement with Chris Herron to provide 2 presentations at Massac High School. Chris Herron's this is an All-American point guard from Massachusetts. He lost his career, almost his family, to the disease of addiction. He has been substance-free since 2008 and has spoken to over 1 million students to make positive differences in their lives. He spoke to the entire Massac body in 2016, so there are no cohorts currently at Massac that have heard him speak before. When Joe brought this to my attention, he said it was the most impactful speaker he has ever seen to a student body. So on his recommendation, we were glad to move this forward. He will be speaking in 2 parts. There'll be a 1-hour parent and family presentation on Monday, November 20th at 7 p.m. At the Massac Auditorium. And that again is for families. And a second presentation will be for Massac students the following day. So a really great program for use of those funds. Someone had mentioned the budget process earlier. So in the spirit of kind of maintaining our schedule that we've had in the past and to facilitate that preparation, I have reminded all department heads to submit capital project updates to our finance department for anticipated review by First Selectman elect Rooney and referral to the Strategic Planning Committee. I think the process worked well in addressing those capital items in advance of the operational budget. I have on the report, but as Councilmember Martin mentioned, the Bicentennial Committee in their final event will be installing a time capsule on the green on Saturday at 3 p.m. and everyone's welcome to join us there. We'd love to see everyone. An update on the grant for the Judd Road Bridge project. You'll recall that back in 2021, working with MetroCog, we secured a $1 million grant through the Local Transportation Capital Improvement Program, also known as LOTSIP, and that was for the rehabilitation of the Judd Road Bridge that spans between Monroe and Easton. We are serving as the administrative agency through an agreement with Easton. We facilitated the design of the project, which Monroe and Easton are funding equally, with the construction costs being covered by LOTSIP. There's been a substantial increase in the estimated construction costs since 2021. And upon further evaluation of the project, the design firm has recommended that the bridge be replaced instead of rehabilitated. And I'm very happy to report that DOT has approved the change in scope, along with a corresponding funding increase of almost $845,000 to cover the replacement costs. That project is expected to go out to bid in early 2024. And then a bunch of business updates for you. A new business at 292 Elm Street, iRepair. They're a screen replacement service for smartphones, tablets, etc. Most of you probably know that Chipotle opened in October, but it's been since our last meeting. That's at 143 Purdy Hill Road. O'Reilly Auto Parts has submitted an application to Planning and Zoning to construct a new facility at 215 Monroe Turnpike. Jadar Building Sales and Services is a new hardware store that's coming to the former Stevenson lumber site at 1565 Monroe Turnpike. It's primarily an online business, but they will have limited inventory as well. It's online for bulk goods, so maybe a lot of B2B type of activities there. High Paws is a new pet grooming business at 437 Monroe Turnpike. Jersey Mike's will be having a grand opening and ribbon cutting on November 15th at 9 a.m. The Dunkin' Donuts in Stevenson at 230 Roosevelt Drive, was temporarily closed while they did renovations. Those are now complete and the store is reopened. The Starbucks site for the site for the new Starbucks at 255 Monroe Turnpike, the structure that is there has been demolished and removed for site prep work that will begin. Awesome Toys and Gifts, which is open at 464 Main Street, is going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony also on November 18th at 1 p.m. And last but not least, the groundbreaking ceremony for the new Aldi at 205 Monroe Turnpike is going to be held this Friday at 1 p.m. Again, that's to be the groundbreaking ceremony. We anticipate the new store would be open in the fall of 2024. And that is my written update for tonight. I just want to close by thanking the chairman and the rest of council, everyone for their kind words and reception. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure to serve. And it's been a very pleasurable service with this town council. I appreciate all the members on council for both the professional and collaborative and very bipartisan approach that we've had to things that I've presented before you for the betterment of our town. And I really appreciate the working relationship that we've all had. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's our first selectman update. That's it for action items. We've no unfinished business this evening. Item 9, new business. Item A, acceptance of individual donations of $1,500 or greater. I move that the town council accept the following donations which individually exceed $1,500. For the food pantry, $2,500 from the Carolyn Giampi. For Project Warmth, $2,000 from Newtown Savings Bank Foundation, $2,000 from Polar Energy, $2,000 from Smart Care Exteriors, LLC, $5,000 from the Monroe First Foundation. And finally, for Senior Center, $2,000 from the Monroe First Foundation. Is there a second? Second. Second by Vice Chair Lapellis. Mr. Kellogg?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As always, greatly appreciative of these substantial and generous donations from Ms. Giampi for the food pantry. Obviously, those funds will be put to great use for those that utilize our food pantry in town. The donations to Project Warmth were all resulting from larger sponsorships of the bicentennial ball that was conducted recently. Newtown Savings Bank and Polar both being very supportive of the town. As you know, Newtown Savings Bank has been a great donor to many causes in our community, and we're appreciative of their efforts. I want to recognize Councilmember Rooney, who is the owner of Smart Care Exteriors, so I thank him for his contribution to Project Warmth. The Monroe First Foundation is my foundation that puts on the First Selectmen's Golf Outing, and we were happy to contribute to both, be a sponsor for Project Warmth and contribute once again to the Senior Center's programming fund for our seniors. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, First Selectman Kellogg. Thank you, Councilmember Rooney. As you're here, thank you very much. And thank you to all the individuals and entities that I mentioned before, Carolyn Giampi, Newtown Savings Bank Foundation, Polar Energy, Smart Care Exteriors, and the Monroe First Foundation. All right, is there any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those against, please say nay. Hearing no nays, this passes 9-0. All right, item B, Resolution 23-128. Madam Vice Chair.
Resolved that the town council approves the proposed health department fee schedule to be effective July 1st, 2024, as presented.
We have a motion to adopt Resolution 23-128. Is there a second? Second. Second by Jason Mauer. Mr. Kellogg.
Thank you. So our Director of Health, Amy Lahaney, who's here with us this evening, has been reviewing the Health Department's current fee schedule, and she's made these recommendations to become effective for fiscal year 25. As you'll know, none of the current fees are recommended for any adjustment whatsoever. There are 3 new fees that are being recommended, and this is based upon kind of standards in the industry and comparable costs in neighboring communities for similar permits. One is a permit for water treatment wastewater discharge systems of $50, a septic system plan review fee for new subdivisions of $175 plus $25 per lot, and then a nominal fee for our tick testing service of $5. Again, comparable to what other health departments and districts in other municipalities have been charging. This has been reviewed by the Board of Health pursuant to our town code. They approved these additions at their September 13th meeting. And again, it is now before you for final approval.
Thank you. This matter did come before LNA, and there was discussion on all of these fees, including the tick testing fee. Councilmember Mauer did inquire as to the tick testing fee, if it was pursued in a private fashion, and you found that it was $50 or something.
It would range. So my initial concern was when you're talking about something at $5 to charge a resident at something that's probably, I think it would be a large number if we sent 100 tickets and that $500 of revenue. Why have you're not talking about anything. Why pass that burden on to the individual and provide it as a service? In our review, we found that basically even the lower cost services were $20, they ranged up to $50, $75. So the $5 fee is actually a savings on if the individual were to do it on their own. So the nominal fee to prevent abuse of it and having people send massive number of ticks, which I don't think would ever happen, but allows for that protection. I'm able to support it based off of the research that we did at LNA.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this matter? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting Resolution 23-128, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those against, please say nay. Hearing no nays, passes 9-0. Item C, Resolution 23-129.
can do it.
Madam Vice Chair.
Whereas pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes, number 4-66, State of Connecticut is authorized to extend financial assistance to municipalities through the Small Town Economic Assistance Program, STEEP. Whereas the town of Monroe applied for a 2023 STEEP grant in the amount of $500,000 for the annual Animal Control Facility Upgrade and Renovation Project 2023 STEEP. And whereas on September 29, 2023, the state notified the town that the aforesaid 2023 STEEP grant award was granted subject to a fully executed contract, which shall be administered by its Department of Economic and Community Development. Whereas the DECD has notified the town that an authorizing municipal resolution is required prior to their issuance of a state municipal assistance agreement. Now, therefore be resolved that the first selectman is hereby authorized on behalf of the town of Monroe to accept the 2023 STEEP grant under the conditions and prerequisition for state assistance imposed by Connecticut General Statutes 4-66 and/or by the state, and to enter into and execute an assistance agreement with the state for state financial assistance, and to provide any such additional information as required to obtain said 2023 STEEP grant.
Thank you. There's a motion to adopt Resolution 23-129 and the language in said resolution that's contained in our packets. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jason Mauer. Mr. Kellogg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, I previously reported that we applied for a $500,000 grant through the STEEP program for the animal control facility renovations and a small addition. And I reported that that grant was awarded to the town. The state has designated the Department of Economic and Community Development to administer the grant. They've notified the town that an authorizing municipal resolution is required before they will release an assistance agreement with the state. This is consistent with what they have done in the past for STEEP grants. As you know, despite, the fact of our charter, they require the authorizing resolution to be adopted in advance. In past years, I have presented the STEEP agreement to council prior to executing. I trust that my successor will do the same. But again, the state will not even release the agreement without this resolution being adopted by the legislative body per their requirements. So I ask that you adopt the resolution so we can receive the $500,000 for our animal control facility.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting Resolution 23-129, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those against, please say nay. Hearing no nays, this passes 9-0. Item D, Resolution 23-130. Madam Vice Chair.
Resolved that pursuant to Town Charter, Chapter X 10, Section 3, the pay plan for the positions in the classified service to become effective January 1st, 2024 is hereby amended as presented by the first selectman.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. There is motion to adopt Resolution 23-130. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Donald Wales. Mr. First Selectman.
Thank you. So last month, Governor Lamont announced that Connecticut's minimum wage will increase to $15.69 per hour effective January 1st. This is pursuant to Public Act 19-4, which created an annual adjustment to the minimum wage based upon a federal employment cost index. They've advised us that this index increased by 4.6% over the 12-month period ending June 30th, 2023, which is what is resulting in the 69-cent increase to the state's current minimum wage. Again, will become effective January 1st of next year. Accordingly, our HR director has reviewed our pay plan and made adjustments to some of the part-time positions to reflect this change in the minimum wage. That were directly effective, as well as a few others that would be fairly close to the new minimum wage that we thought were appropriate to adjust a slight amount, 50 cents higher in the minimum category as well.
Thank you. Any other discussion on resolution 23-130? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those against, please say nay. Hearing no nays, resolution's adopted. Item E, resolution 23-131. Madam Vice Chair.
Resolved that Kenneth M. Kellogg, first selectman of the town of Monroe, is authorized to execute and deliver on behalf of the town of Monroe the tower lease agreement and any associated documents by and between Top Tower Realty LLC for WMN.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Is there's currently a motion to adopt resolution 23-131. Is there a second?
Second.
Alan Wales. Mr. First Selectman.
Thank you. WNR has some broadcasting equipment on a tower that's in Sag Harbor, New York. That's for one of their translators. There was a prior lease that had expired. The tower property was sold to a new owner, Top Tower Realty LLC. While they have allowed us continued use of that tower while a new lease was being negotiated, this was referred to special counsel that we've utilized in the past, Rosemark Law, that has expertise in this area. He's negotiated a new 5-year lease retroactive to January 1st of this year. Again, these lease costs would be fully funded through WMNR. The town attorney has reviewed it as well and provided his attached opinion letter. And I'd ask that you adopt this resolution so that WMNR can continue to broadcast from Sag Harbor, New York.
Thank you. Any other discussion on?
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Mauer.
Just the only other item that was discussed on this in LNA was that in addition to the lease costs being covered, all of the legal fees that are associated with the review are also covered by WMNR, not by the town's legal budget.
That's correct.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting resolution 23-131, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, please say no. Hearing no nays, passes 9-0. Item F, resolution 23-132. Madam Vice Chair.
Resolved that Kenneth M. Kellogg, first selectman of the town of Monroe, is authorized to execute and deliver on behalf of the town of Monroe terms of service agreement with Acceptable Services Incorporated for over-the-phone interpreting services for emergency medical services.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. There's a motion to adopt resolution 23-132. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jason Mauer. Mr. Kellogg.
Thank you. So as I'm sure you can imagine, there are times when our emergency medical services personnel respond to emergencies and identify a significant language barrier that could impact patient assessment and delivery of emergency medical care. Our EMS administrator has reviewed a couple of options and has recommended an agreement with Acceptable Services, which provides a phone-based interpreting service through a very minimal subscription cost. It's been reviewed by the town attorney. You have his letter of opinion, and I'd ask that you adopt this resolution so we can utilize these services when necessary.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Mauer.
I just want to say that I think this is not only a cost-effective solution to the problem, but a efficient and a straight up effective solution to the problem. And I think it's going to be a wonderful tool to our EMS. So thank you to them for bringing this to our attention. And then thank you to town for making this happen. I think this is a great addition to their services.
Thank you, Mr. Mauer. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting resolution 23-132, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, please say nay. Hearing no nays, passes 9-0. Item G, resolution 23-133. Madam Vice Chair.
Resolved that Kenneth M. Kellogg, first selectman of the town of Monroe, is authorized to execute and deliver on behalf of the town of Monroe the memorandum of understanding FY 2023-2024 and any associated documents by and between RW Solutions Incorporated for the Elderly Nutrition Program.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. There's a motion to adopt resolution 23-133. Is there a second? Second. Second by Donald Wales. Mr. First Selectman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you'll recall, I reported to this council earlier this year that we had launched a federally funded congregate meal program at our senior center in partnership with the Southwest Agency on Aging, known as SWACA. and RW Solutions. This is the elderly nutrition program. We offer a meal once a week, a lunch option every Wednesday at the senior center. Residents can participate at no cost that are members over 60. For those who can afford to do so, they can offer a small donation, but it's not required. And the meal funded through the Older Americans Act is actually almost $11 per meal is the cost that is funded through the program. Kim Cassidy, our Director of Community and Social Services, advised me last week that SWACA now requires an MOU between the provider of the meal service, RW Solutions, and the recipient, obviously being the town of Monroe. RW has provided a fairly straightforward MOU in this regard. It's been reviewed by the town attorney. You have his letter, and we ask that you adopt this resolution so we can continue to provide a very well-received program at our senior center.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Mauer.
This one, I actually had a couple of residents reach directly out to me when they saw this on the agenda, as there was some concern as to that this was something affecting that service, and I was able to reassure them on that. I just want to note that all of those residents who called me or talked to me about this one really like this service, and any exploration that we can do into expanding this service and possibly offering this either more than once a week or finding other ways to do similar items more often would be greatly appreciated by that community. But there was concern when it was seen, but I assured them that this was nothing getting rid of the service and just kind of putting it in there. But like I said, there certainly is interest and appetite to expand it further.
Go to lunch, Dee Dee, together.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting resolution 23-134, please say aye.
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 All those against, please say nay. Hearing no nays, passes 9-0. Finally, item H, resolution 23-134. Madam Vice Chair.
Resolved that pursuant to number 452-6B of the Town Code, a disposal charge of $132 per ton of solid waste shall be established effective January 1st, 2024.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. There's a motion to adopt resolution 23-134. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jason Bauer. Mr. Kellogg.
Thank you. As you all know, the town has a long-standing collaboration with the towns of Trumbull and Easton in the use of the Trumbull Transfer Station. Pursuant to the town code, private haulers that operate in the town of Monroe are required to dispose municipal solid waste at the Trumbull location. From there, it is processed, consolidated, and transported to the Wheelabrator Trash to Energy facility in Bridgeport. The town of Trumbull allocates costs on the operation of their facility on both a volume and a per capita basis. And the town of Monroe, pursuant to the code, passes along those costs to the hauler in form of a disposal fee. That charge is currently $110 per ton. We have not adjusted that cost since 2019. And since that time, Trumbull's monthly cost to operate the facility has increased by nearly 25%. And the Greater Bridgeport Regional Solid Waste Interlocal Committee tipping fee that is brought to Wheelabrator has increased by almost 11%. So as a result, our directors of Public Works and Finance, Mr. Nowacki and Bonofsky, are here this evening, have reviewed it and recommended that to adjust accordingly. We increase our hauler fees by 20%, which is how we get to the $132 per ton. Again, ask that you adopt this resolution so that we can continue to maintain this fund in an appropriate fashion.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Mauer.
Just a congratulations to Selectman Kellogg, Councilmember Martin, and Councilmember Katuska on your final item of new business. Thank you all for your service once again.
Thank you.
Out of order. That's all. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of adopting resolution 23-134, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, please say nay. Hearing no nays, passes 9-0. There are no unfinished matters of unfinished business. There are no unfinished matters of new business. There is no second public participation tonight. We are adjourning at, yes, what do you,
What do you want?
7:46.
Are you on a deadline?
Always.
Okay.
Go ahead, Councilwoman Martin.
I just would indulge the chair just a few minutes for just a few comments. I'm actually somewhat embarrassed to say that I had forgotten this evening was my last meeting until I sat down and Mr. Mauer said, how do you feel about this being your last meeting? I was looking at the calendar thinking the 27th was our last one. And then new people would be sworn in after that. So probably indicates it's a good time for me to read since I forgot. Mr. Kapoor had said 29 and a half years. I filled a vacancy for 6 months, let's get the 29. That's how I started on this esteemed board. I served with every first selectman that the town of Monroe has had, which is mind-boggling when you think about it. I'll be quick, Mr. There was a town manager before, but when Monroe changed the charter and moved to first selectman, it was Mr. Heitzke, Mrs. Bernaska.
And Heitzke.
Andy Nunn, Tom Busey, Steve Vavrick, and Mr. Kellogg. All reputable first selectmen. Some I've enjoyed more than others. Mr. Kellogg, I will put you in the enjoyed category.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Dee.
Good to work with. More chairman than I can care to remember, and certainly more council people than I can remember, probably. My service has been exciting and boring sometimes, infuriating, interesting, and long. So it's time to go. A lot of changes, I think, a lot of progress, and I'm forever grateful to the residents of Monroe that thought maybe this mouthy preschool teacher could do this job for a while. So it's been fun. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now you can go home.
Well, I just appreciate they kept to the 3 minutes for public participation. I'm adjourning this meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Everyone.